Inshallah now, I want to introduce my brother Husam, Ayloush of Umar. Husam has been a lifelong human rights activist who is passionate about promoting democratic societies in USA and worldwide. Husam currently is the executive director of CARE since 1998, means 20 years. And mashallah. And through his work at CARE and Southern California at large, Husam engages elected officials and also law enforcement and media. And one thing I learned about Husam today, honestly, Husam has chosen by the Orange County Register as one of the 100 most influential individuals in Orange County. Allahu Akbar. I do want to ask Brother Husam to talk about any specific topic, but definitely the success of CARE in Southern California and all what they did for all the community. And the banquet last week, mashallah, was very successful. So definitely this idea started 20 years ago by an idea, by a few groups. And one of the most successful ideas is the one you carry to the others and as a group work in it. So Brother Husam, as Inspirational, maybe probably advice or lessons you learned from CARE journey in the last 20 years that you share with our brothers and sisters. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Ahmed, for this kind introduction. Jazakallah khair for all those who are so quiet to let you speak. I want to know whose idea was to have the program club. MashaAllah, this is a testimony to your resilience and your strength and your commitment at this great conference. So thank you to all the organizers of this event. And thank you, Mas, for bringing us together. Initially, I wanted to say that it was too late that people rushed, but when I heard that the real speaker, Sheikh Abdul Fattah, I thought there's no better blessing than being here and gathering, inshallah, and benefiting from him. And mashallah, feeling very humbled with our mashayikh, our scholars and teachers in the audience. I feel very humbled to be here. Very briefly, I think the story of CARE is the story of the Muslim community in a sense. And that is, back in June of 1994, a group of people, 3 individuals specifically, Brother Umar Ahmed, Brother Nihad Awad, and Ibrahim Mourou, looked at the political map and the scene in America and realized that American Muslims didn't have a voice. Everyone spoke about them or of them, and mostly not friendly people, not sympathetic people. Targeting Muslims, misrepresenting Muslims, but there were no Muslims. When media wanted to talk to Muslims, there were no Muslims available to tell their stories and share their narrative. So eventually they felt, let's establish something. So a small office, small organization was set up in Washington, D.C. in June of 1994. So that's 23 years ago now. And their main focus was 2 things. One is have a voice for American Muslims to deal with media, and the other one was to protect the rights of Muslims through their civil rights. And their first chapter was established in Washington, D.C. Very soon, many people felt that this is an important organization, and they set up another office in Northern California, where Umar Ahmed lived. Umar was just a board member, was not a full-time person. Nihad actually and Ibrahim took the chance at a time when CARE didn't have enough money to pay their salary, but took a chance and took the position because they believed that, first thing, that the Muslim community deserves to have a voice, an authentic voice representing the interests of the Muslim community, not something that represents an appeasement or an apologetic voice. Locally, I'll shift because I'm a little bit more familiar with the locally. I didn't know them actually. I didn't know neither Umar nor Nihad or Ibrahim. But I'm an engineer by education. I was an aerospace engineer actually working in Cerritos at that time. And I heard about that organization and I loved it. I was getting their emails and faxes. And I was very impressed by the professionalism and by the confidence by which they projected the Muslim community and the Muslim perspective. I loved that because I felt we needed that voice. So I approached many of the community leaders at that time. Many were busy with a lot of other projects. Many of you remember many of these organizations. And a few were equally excited, one of them, Brother Abdul Hayek, I saw Yaman Qahaf, very active with mass, also continuously. Mas'ud Nasimi, few other people, and Fuad Ayloush also from your area. And we decided to start a chapter for care. And the philosophy was this. Initially I served on the board, and after a couple of years they convinced me to quit my job and take the position of care, which is alhamdulillah something I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for doing. But the philosophy is I'm taking it away from just one individual. It's actually the thoughts of individuals, a group of people, small group of people, believing in their ability to make a difference, and believing that we have a community that deserves to be represented. And it wasn't always popular. The positions we took actually were a lot of times very unpopular. When you sue the FBI, when you challenge the FBI, when you challenge the White House, it is not always popular, but you're doing it on behalf of the rights of the community. Alhamdulillah, eventually you build trust within the community, and most importantly, within the public. When the larger community knows you stand for something, the nice thing about our country here is people respect people who have self-respect. If you respect yourself, you force others to respect you. And what we did, and this is probably something important for us to keep in mind, what we did is we worked on what's called small victories. Many of the Muslim community at that time, the community is split in two categories. We have the indigenous Muslims who were born and raised, African Americans, Latino Muslims, Anglo Muslims. These are people who grew up with understanding their rights. They understood the flaws of our system, they understand the legacies, the negative history, the positive chances, the possibilities. They knew that, and they never saw themselves as second-class citizens. And alhamdulillah, that was a community that is easy to work with and engage. The immigrant community, on the other hand, for the most part, came from countries where your opinion does not matter. You were denied your right to be an effective citizen. You were not even allowed the space to express your views or even challenge abuse. And that was a difficult community to be in. So what we needed to do was allow this community to believe in itself. So what we did, we started what we call as small victories. The small victories was, let's say there was a case of discrimination, a corporation, and we would ask Muslims to call in. A sister in hijab was fired because of her hijab. We would ask Muslims to call into this corporation within minutes. Actually, within usually less than 48 hours. When 2,000 Muslims call into this corporation, whether it's the Hilton or the Holiday Inn or JCPenney or Bank of America, and when Muslims would call in, usually within 48 hours, that corporation would say, all right, we're sorry, we're not going to do it again. This person is reinstated and they get their job. The point is, Muslims would say, oh, my phone call made a difference. And Muslims realized that actually their activism can bring results, unlike what we see in other parts of the world. And that allowed us to take Muslims to the next level. The next level was being able to push for policies, be able to organize politically, be able to challenge some of the major Islamophobic lobbies, public relations companies, activists, bigots, and so on and so forth. Now the Muslim community, subhanAllah, because of its confidence, we see the difference it's making at the national scene. At the national scene, when we're dealing with the Trump abuses, I can tell you, many people have gambled or thought that the Muslim community would back down, would retreat. The Muslim community fought back. Every time a policy was pushed, whether it's the Muslim ban or a comment against Muslims, now we see, because of the confidence started with few people. Few people started this confidence. Alhamdulillah, they brought it to us, to all of us as a community now. Now we became a community that's actually making a difference with the country. It's actually this resilience of the Muslim community is encouraging the rest of the public to stand by the Muslim community. I want to conclude with one thing on this issue. As we challenge abuses in our country today, And as the Muslim community starts feeling that we are equal citizens, you know, the Constitution does not designate first class and second class. There was a time when it did that, by the way. Alhamdulillah, with the 13th Amendment, now everybody is supposed to be equal citizens. There are no free people and slaves. So now, when we realize that we are equal citizens with equal responsibilities and rights, every time you struggle, you're defending your rights. But also you're giving hope to those who are oppressed in our country. And I would say, as part of an ummah, we are American Muslims, we're part of an ummah. You're giving hope to Muslims around the world. If you look at the situation around the Muslim world today, or Muslim majority countries, it is very depressing. The few rights that existed are being stripped away. The only place where Muslims actually continue to enjoy some rights to practice their religion freely is in America. It doesn't mean we don't have flaws. We do have a system that works. We have people who are trying to break that system. Fighting to protect that system is a way to protect your rights and making sure we give hope to the rest of the Muslims around the world that actually it's possible, and our strength can help them. Because remember, some of the abuses originate from our country because of the foreign flaws. By becoming a strong citizen and a strong community, we defend our rights, and inshallah we encounter some of the abuses originating from our country in ways that inshallah will help ease some of the pressure on others. So I hope we keep that in mind, inshallah, that when we look at the story of our organization as a community, CARE is the community's organization. Alhamdulillah, it has allowed us to build a platform where now our voices can be amplified, where we can organize and build power and build alliances. Please don't stop. This is not the time to stop. This is the time to actually fight in a more united and stronger way.
Wait, we need a سؤال للأخ حسام. Or I will ask him. تفضل.
We heard last year about the Muslim community should be rallying behind the CARE for voter registration, 1 million voter registration, and I guess we are going into 2018 with important elections coming. So what is the effort right now, and what happened before when we were trying at the beginning of the, between Trump and Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, you asked what's the effort now for the voter registration?
Yeah, we need to hear this loud and clear for all the Muslim community. My personal belief, voter registration and the Muslim involvement in that was not up to the level that we hope. If we look into getting 100 million, what is our numbers, and how can we proceed forward from that?
Very quickly, I think it's important to keep in mind that when there's a debate about voting in general, people think, well, we're a small minority as Muslims in this country. Why should we vote? How will it make a difference? The reality is, candidates win or lose on the basis of incremental difference. Meaning, think about if any candidate, usually if a candidate is running for office, they get 45%, the other one gets 45%. It's usually the difference is 5%, 10%. The difference is any vote, winning or losing, is that small percent. So when small minorities, as they say, an organized minority is actually more effective than a disorganized majority. So we can be the one that makes the difference, that tip basically the side of that scale. And we saw that in California. California has become actually the leading state in resisting the abuses by the Trump administration against immigrants, against refugees, against Muslims, against others. And the reason for that is because there are many, many minorities that are actually organized enough to become a majority collective. And it's important for us to be part of that effort because, as I said earlier, we protect ourselves, but also we provide protection for the rest of the country and then even globally, for that sense. I really want to bring back, one is, there's a campaign going on now because there's elections in 2018 next year. we're hoping, we're doing two campaigns that I hope, inshallah, you visit the care booth and participate in. One is, we're urging everyone who has not registered to register, or if you have changed your address recently, please re-register. And also to convince 5 people to register. You know 5 people, young people who haven't registered before, family members, friends, people who have recently become citizens. Because if we're asking others to stand by us, we need to become a strong voice. We need to show them that we're a strong community so they can feel empowered. The second thing is we're asking people to pledge to vote, to sign a form to say, I pledge to vote in 2018. So we can send the message to elected officials. Elected officials gauge what is happening. You know, many elected officials might have a principled position, but others might not, and they will look at public opinion. If they think there's a public opinion that is willing to fight back, not just to say no to Trump, but to fight back, not just to resist, to fight back, if they feel there's a public opinion asking for that, they will do that. And I want to conclude personally, because I know the time is limited, by saying, we in America today, and in the West in general, we're under attack by corrupt Arab regimes. I'm going to be very clear. There are corrupt Arab regimes that have managed to crush Islam and Muslims in the Muslim majority countries. They've managed to subdue Muslims and abort any movement for freedom, that's known as the Arab Spring. In Egypt, in Libya, in Syria, in Yemen, in Algeria, and in Tunisia, they tried that. They succeeded. To a great extent, they've succeeded in suppressing those aspirations for freedom. Now they're looking, and they found that the only Muslims left with a sense of freedom and ability to organize and give hope to those suppressed Muslims around the world are Muslims living in the West, specifically in America and Europe. So these governments actually are putting money, working with public relations companies, with the pro-Israel lobby, with Islamophobic groups to suppress Muslims in the West. And this is not, I'm not making theories, actually numbers, I can share with you numbers. They are actually trying to limit the freedoms of Muslims. They're actually talking to the British government, to the French government, to the US government, to limit the freedoms of Muslims in the West. By shutting down their organizations, by labeling them as terrorists, by making it difficult for Muslims to practice their life as Muslims, but also to organize for their freedom and the freedom of others. Our silence will empower such movement. So, in conclusion, my plea to all of my brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, we have a lot of great organizations. And as we heard from our dear Sheikh Abdul Fattah and our dear brother and leader here, Dr. Ahmed, everyone can make a difference. And this is not the moment to start new organizations. Alhamdulillah, we have MAS, we have ICTA, we have CARE, we have Islamic Belief, ULR, whatever your field is, we have them. We have these organizations. Find what is your niche, what is your interest, where can you make a difference? Alhamdulillah, I know this group is actually, I'm looking at their faces and I know most of you are active already. But for those of you who are not active, you cannot make your activism just showing up to pray Jum'ah, or attend Isha prayer, or coming to the mass conference, or to the care bank. That's not activism. That's a show of support. Your activism is when you commit yourself to being part of these organizations. Pick one organization. Alhamdulillah, they're all good. If I weren't very busy with CARE, I would be very busy with MAS. If I'm not very busy with MAS, I would be very busy with Islamic Belief, or ULR, or ICTA. All of them are great organizations. Pick one where you feel you're interested. Show up, serve on a board, on a committee, raise money. Today we need resources so we can hire staff. MAS, or CARE, or MSA West, or ICTA. We need to hire staff that they can organize our community. We're 6 million. We have more Muslims today here in America than in one of those countries causing trouble, UAE as an example. We have more Muslims than they do. And you think we're poor, we're not poor. We're actually richer than them, based on the per capita income in America. So they cannot mess up our life here. If they were able to subdue their people, we should not allow them to subdue us here. So the only way we can do that is by choosing not to be spectators. If they were able to mess up for the livelihood of people in Egypt, in Syria, in Libya, in other places, we should not allow them to do this for us. We owe it for ourselves. But will happen today if we don't fight back, our children will lose their identity. And it's happening already. You go visit, alhamdulillah, maybe many of us go to the masjid and see the youth at the masjid and we think this is the youth. This is less than 10% of the youth. The outside, the story and the image and the picture is not a very promising one. And it's not because of the Islamophobes. The Islamophobes have been doing this from the time of Muhammad alayhi salam. The problem is what we do. And are we willing to invest into our organization? So I'm hoping, inshallah, we have a good number here, inshallah. If each one of us commits to be part of these organizations fully, with our time, with our money, with our commitment, inshallah, with our thoughts, and wallahi, I have no doubt that the hope, inshallah, is here. And the future, inshallah, is bright. The future is going to be bright because we've crossed and we've passed the most critical time. The most critical time was after 9/11, when they tried to subdue Muslims and blame us for something we didn't do. Alhamdulillah, we passed, we not only survived, we rebounded, and we are actually way more stronger than we've ever been. Alhamdulillah ta'ala. We have more allies than we've ever had. We have more organized effort than we've ever had. Now is the time to solidify and inshallah amplify.
Well, definitely, I want us to bring you back to the same topic we started with. Jazakallah khairan, Brother Husam.
طبعا بنقدر نحسب يعني وقتنا ان شاء الله to conclude ان شاء الله as a golden advice ان شاء الله.
Inshallah. Well, there's not much to add, but Sheikh Abdul Fattah actually is Allah khair. I hope the translation was clear enough to what he said. But I think to build on what he said, I'll maybe repeat some of it. It is extremely important for us to realize the reality is we are citizens. Our children don't think of themselves anything other than being Americans today. It is up to us to make this a normal, organic process. We have to change our mindset. We're not a Jaliya. We're not visitors. We're not a sense of a foreign community. We are a Muslim community that is American, that is proud of what is contributing to this country, and it has to show in our integration, in our activism. Regardless of what we do today, if we don't do anything, there are two extremes that we have to avoid, and I'm not going to elaborate on them. Two extremes. One is isolation, the other one is assimilation. Isolation would lead to our disappearance as a community with an identity and values. Isolation from the outside, meaning we're better than the others, we don't want to integrate, we're not like them, whoever those them means. Assimilation is when you lose your identity, when you give up who you are, because you want to be accepted, because of the pressure we're getting from the Islamophobes. Either way we lose. The only way we can succeed and keep our identity and be effective in our country, be respected and be self-respecting, is by integrating. Keep who you are. Be proud Muslim, be proud of your identity. You're unique, you're American Muslim, like there's Egyptian Muslim, there's Saudi Muslim, there's Pakistani Muslim, there is an American Muslim identity. Be proud of who you are and integrate, meaning be active in society. Find your role as a doctor, as an engineer, as an imam, as an activist, as a civil rights activist. Let people know who you are, and inshallah with that, I personally say, from working with the Muslim community, despite all the challenges that I see, wallahi, I'm full of hope. And this is not free hope that I'm sharing. It's based on reality. Alhamdulillah, there are so many indicators that tell us that the future for us is bright. Don't let all the noise outside change you from feeling that way. But let's make sure we solidify it, inshallah, and make it continue to go at a faster rate so we can fulfill the mandate of our religion towards mankind. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Barakallahu feek. Jazakallahu khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Abdul Mourou, Husam, Ayloush, and I'm so sorry to take no extra minutes from your time. But again, Jazakallah khair, Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Inshallah, back to Brother Omar, the MC.
Jazakallah khair. Just a quick reminder that Tahajjud is at 4:30 in the morning.